weary traveler, to mythology for sleep. Settle in tonight as we journey back to ancient Greece, where the gods themselves walked the earth. Tonight's tale unwinds the very beginning of a legendary love story, a royal romance, sometimes tempestuous, but always captivating. We'll explore the initial, tender sparks between the king and queen of the gods, Zeus and Hera. Close your eyes now and let the whispers of myth carry you away. But just before we begin, if our stories help you drift off, please tap the like and subscribe buttons. In my channel, you can find Norse, Greek, and other mythology tales. So comment and tell me which myth you'd like to hear next. Your support helps us craft and shape more calm stories for fellow night owls. And now let your shoulders sink softly into the mattress and your mind drift into today's tale. The air shimmered. It hummed with newness. Above the clouds, Olympus stood. Its white marble gleamed. Gold accents caught the light. This was a palace built by gods. It was a home for heroes. Inside, grand halls stretched. They were vast and echoing. Frescoes adorned the walls. They depicted mighty battles. They showed brave victories. These triumphs were still fresh. Zeus surveyed his domain. He sat on a throne of clouds. Lightning crackled softly. It danced at his fingertips. He was king, undeniably. His power was immense. Yet a quiet stillness settled. It clung to the empty spaces. Olympus was grand, yes, but it felt so very large. It felt a little lonely. He was master of all. Below, the world stirred. It slowly healed itself. The Titanomachy had ended. That great war was over. The Titans were defeated. They were imprisoned now. Tartarus held them fast. Their roars were muted. They were distant echoes. They no longer threatened. The cosmos was safe. A new era had begun. Zeus had led the charge. He had rallied his siblings. They fought with fierce courage. They claimed their rightful place. Now peace reigned. It was a fragile peace. He watched the mortal lands. They unfurled below him. They were like a tapestry. They were woven with life. Mortals built their small towns. They tended their simple fields. Their lives were fleeting. Yet they held such beauty. They held such vibrant hope. Zeus felt a deep responsibility. He was their protector. He was their guide. But who guided him? Who understood his burdens? His siblings were near. They were his loyal companions. They were his trusted allies. They shared his victory. Still, a chasm remained. It yawned within his heart. He craved for something more. He yearned for true connection. He longed for a partner, not just a subject. He remembered the war, the fury, the chaos. He remembered the stakes. All had been on his shoulders. He had carried that weight. He carried it still. The new world needed shaping. It needed gentle guidance. It needed firm leadership. He provided both readily. He was a just ruler. He was a powerful king. But the silence persisted. It grew in the vast halls. It settled in his thoughts. He heard only his own breath. He heard only the wind. It whistled through the pillars. His throne felt cold. Its majesty was undeniable, but it offered no warmth. It offered no solace. He had achieved everything. He had won the ultimate prize. Yet something was missing. A vital piece, perhaps. He looked at the shining floors. They reflected his image. A solitary figure, crowned. A powerful, lonely god. He closed his eyes briefly. He remembered the battles. He remembered the fear. He remembered the triumph. It was all a blur now, a distant memory. He opened them again. The light streamed in. It illuminated the dust motes. They danced in the air, each one a tiny world, each one alone. He thought of his siblings again. Hestia, gentle and kind. Poseidon, wild and untamed. Hades, brooding in the underworld. They were family, yes, but they were distinct. Their paths were separate. Their domains were different. They ruled their own realms. They managed their own affairs. He was king above them all. He was the unifier. But who unified him? Who brought him balance? He needed a counterpart, a soul to match his own, someone to share this reign, someone to understand his heart. The thought lingered. It took root slowly. A seed of desire, a whisper of hope. Olympus was built. The world was new, but his own story was just beginning. He looked out at the sky. It stretched endlessly. It was a canvas. It waited for new strokes. He felt a stirring, a quiet anticipation. His reign had begun, but his life needed more. It needed companionship. It needed true love. He was the king of the gods. He deserved a queen. Far from the boisterous halls of Olympus, a different kind of quiet reigned. Hera lived there. She found solace in its gentle embrace. Her home was a haven of peace. It was nestled deep within ancient lands. She had been raised with great care. Tethys and Oceanus, titans of the sea, nurtured her spirit. Or perhaps it was Rhea, her own mother, who shielded her. Either way, her upbringing instilled a deep sense of calm. Hera was known for many things. Her beauty was legendary. It shimmered like moonlight on still water. Her eyes held the wisdom of ages. They reflected deep understanding. Yet, her most defining trait was her strong will. She moved with a regal bearing. Every gesture was graceful. Each step was purposeful. She carried herself with quiet dignity. It was an aura of gentle power. This presence commanded respect. It drew admiration from all who saw her. The air around her felt different. It was calm and serene. It was free from earthly clamor. She preferred quiet contemplation. She found joy in peaceful solitude. The world outside often seemed chaotic. She sought refuge from its noise. Her reputation preceded her. She was admired for her independence. She valued her own counsel. The other gods spoke of her with reverence. They whispered tales of her grace. They knew she disliked turmoil. She found peace in order. Hera found beauty in small things. A blooming flower, a whispering breeze, these brought her joy. She spent her days in quiet pursuits. She cultivated a tranquil existence. Her life unfolded with serene purpose. It was a testament to her nature. She was not often seen among the Olympians. Their loud revelry held little appeal. Their constant squabbles wearied her spirit. She preferred her own company. She cherished her private world. It was a place of quiet strength. It was uniquely her own. Yet whispers traveled far. Tales of her beauty reached distant lands. Stories of her wisdom spread like wildfire. Gods and goddesses spoke of her with awe. They marveled at her composure. She was a beacon of tranquility. She stood apart from the rest. Zeus, high upon his throne, heard these murmurs. He listened to the distant echoes. He caught snatches of conversation. The other gods spoke of Hera often. Their words held a certain reverence. They described her serene beauty. They praised her quiet strength. He heard of her dislike for chaos. He learned of her independent spirit. He noted her dignified manner. This was different from the goddesses he knew. She possessed a unique allure. Her reputation intrigued him greatly. It sparked a growing curiosity. He envisioned her calm presence. He pictured her regal bearing. He imagined her thoughtful gaze. She seemed a world away from Olympus. She was a mystery waiting to unfold. The whispers painted a vivid picture. They drew him in closer. Her wisdom was often mentioned. Gods sought her counsel. They valued her clear insight. Even those who had never met her spoke of her sagacity. Her reputation was widespread. She was a fount of quiet knowledge. She embodied profound understanding. Zeus found himself pondering her. He imagined her serene existence. He wondered about her daily life. She was an enigma. She was unlike anyone he had encountered. The tales woven by the other gods fueled his fascination. They deepened his interest. He yearned to see her. He wished to witness her grace firsthand. He longed to hear her quiet words. Her independence was captivating. It drew him closer still. Hera remained a mystery. She was a distant, shining star. Her presence was a calm force. It was a gentle counterpoint to the storm. It was a quiet strength. She moved through life with quiet purpose. She embodied true serenity. Her story was whispered. It echoed through the divine realms. So Hera lived, serene and independent. Her quiet strength resonated. Her grace was undeniable. She remained apart from the tumult. She held her own counsel. Yet, her reputation grew. It reached the ears of the mighty Zeus. Zeus felt a quiet stirring within him. He had heard tales, of course, whispers carried on the wind. They spoke of Hera, her grace, her unmatched beauty. But these were just words. Zeus sought more. He longed to see her, to understand the truth. His divine senses, keen and sharp, stretched out. They reached across the vast heavens. They sifted through the clouds. They sought a unique presence. He felt a gentle pull, a subtle hum. It drew him ever closer. The pull led him to a hidden sanctuary. It was nestled deep within a sacred grove. Ancient olive trees stood tall here. Their silvery leaves shimmered in the soft light. A fragrant breeze rustled through them. This place felt different. It held a deep peace. He paused at the edge of the grove. He did not wish to disturb the quiet. Zeus, the mighty king, became an observer. He watched unseen from the shadows. His gaze swept the peaceful scene. There, amidst the verdant stillness, was Hera. She knelt beside a small, flowing spring. Her hands moved gently. She tended to delicate wildflowers there. Their petals, soft and vibrant, seemed to bloom brighter near her touch. Her movements were slow, they were deliberate. She seemed at one with nature. A tiny bird landed on her shoulder. It chirped a soft, sweet song. Hera offered it a gentle smile. This was a goddess unlike any other. Zeus had known many goddesses. They were often grand, they were powerful. Their presence was bold, it was undeniable. But Hera, she possessed a different kind of strength. It was quiet, it was profound. It resonated deeply within him. Her calm presence was striking. It contrasted sharply with his own nature. Zeus was often tempestuous. He was sometimes impulsive. His thoughts could be stormy. Yet, watching her, a sense of tranquility settled over him. He saw her dignity. It was clear in every gesture. Her posture was regal, her gaze was serene. She moved with an inherent grace. It was not practiced, it flowed naturally. This was true majesty. He watched her for a long time. He absorbed every detail. Her dark hair, braided simply, cascaded down her back. A simple white chiton draped gracefully around her. She wore no elaborate jewels. Her beauty was pure. It was unadorned. A deep fascination bloomed within Zeus. It was unlike anything he had felt before. This was not mere admiration. It was a profound respect. He recognized something extraordinary in her. He realized then, Hera was not just beautiful. She embodied wisdom, she held strength. She possessed a quiet power. It was deeply rooted, it was unwavering. This power was truly captivating. Zeus felt a shift within his own heart. His usual boisterousness faded. A new emotion took root. It was a feeling of awe. It was a sense of wonder. He wanted to know her more. He had always sought conquest. He had pursued power. But with Hera, the desire was different. He yearned for connection. He longed for understanding. He felt a pull toward her essence. He watched her rise. She walked slowly toward an ancient oak. Its branches spread wide. She placed her hand upon its bark. She seemed to draw comfort from its strength. Her gaze drifted upwards. She looked toward the sun. A soft, knowing smile touched her lips. She seemed to commune with the very essence of the world. She was truly a queen. Zeus knew then, with absolute certainty, his life would not be complete without her. He felt a powerful, undeniable urge. He must approach her. He must speak to her. He stepped from the shadows. The rustle of leaves announced his presence. Hera turned slowly. Her eyes, deep and knowing, met his. There was no fear in them, only calm. "Hera," Zeus said. His voice, usually booming, was soft. "I have sought you." He felt a strange humility. It was a feeling he rarely experienced. She regarded him steadily. Her expression was serene. "I know, Zeus," she replied. Her voice was like soft music. It was gentle, it was clear. "I felt your presence." His heart quickened slightly. She had known he was there. This deepened his fascination. She saw beyond the surface. She perceived with a deeper wisdom. "I have observed you," Zeus continued. His words were earnest. "I have seen your grace." He paused, searching for the right words. "Your spirit, it is truly unique." Hera offered a faint smile. "The grove holds peace," she murmured. "It offers quiet reflection." She gestured around her. "Nature teaches patience." Zeus nodded slowly. He understood her meaning. His own life was often chaotic. He ruled over storms. He commanded thunder. He sought order from chaos. But Hera embodied a different kind of order. It was organic. It was harmonious. It was a natural balance. He found himself drawn to this balance. "I find myself drawn to your peace," Zeus confessed. His gaze held hers. "It is a rare thing, Hera." He felt a profound truth in his words. She looked at him thoughtfully. Her eyes held ancient wisdom. "Peace is found within," she said softly. "It is not always sought from without." Zeus considered her words. They resonated deeply within him. He had always sought power. He had pursued dominance. He had never truly sought inner peace. But now, looking at Hera, he felt a new desire. He wanted to learn from her. He wanted to understand her quiet strength. He wanted to share in her serenity. He extended his hand slightly. "May I join you?" he asked. His voice was hopeful. "May I share in this tranquility?" It was a sincere invitation. Hera's gaze softened further. A hint of warmth entered her eyes. "You are welcome here, Zeus," she replied. She gestured to the spring. "The waters are cool." Zeus felt a surge of quiet joy. It was a feeling both new and profound. This was the beginning. This was the start of something truly significant. He stepped fully into the grove. The air felt lighter around them. The scent of wildflowers filled his senses. The world seemed to hold its breath. He sat beside her. He felt a calm settle over him. The king of the gods, for once, was still. He was content to simply be. He was content to be near her. The soft glow of dawn touched Olympus. Hera, ever watchful, surveyed her sacred groves. A gentle mist still clung to the olive trees, a familiar, comforting sight. Zeus, from his distant throne, observed her. He remembered her quiet strength, her serene beauty. His usual thunderous approach would not do. He considered a different strategy. Perhaps a whispered invitation, a subtle gesture. He yearned to bridge the distance between them. First, he sent a gentle rain. It was not a storm, not a deluge, just a soft, nourishing drizzle. It kissed Hera's vibrant gardens. The parched earth drank deeply. Her roses unfurled, their petals glistening. The scent of damp soil rose, a sweet, earthy perfume. Hera noticed this unusual rain. It felt different, softer. It brought life, not the usual disruption. She mused on its delicate touch. Next, a pair of peacocks appeared. Their plumage shimmered, iridescent blues and greens. They fanned their magnificent tails. They glided gracefully near her temple. She paused her morning ritual. These birds were exquisite, their presence unexpected. Their silent display seemed almost a tribute. A soft cooing then drifted on the breeze. White doves, symbols of peace, fluttered closer. They perched on her window ledge, their eyes bright. Hera watched them. Their gentle presence was calming. It felt like a subtle blessing, a quiet offering. She wondered at the source. Later, as she walked through her orchards, a new scent bloomed. It was the fragrance of jasmine, delicate and intoxicating. It mingled with the sweet perfume of citrus. The air felt lighter, almost ethereal. She breathed deeply, a rare smile touching her lips. This was a scent of pure joy. She knew this was not mere chance. The gentle rain, the magnificent birds, the exquisite perfumes, they all spoke of a deliberate hand. A powerful hand. Zeus, from afar, felt a quiet satisfaction. He saw her thoughtful gaze, her slight curiosity, her cautious intrigue. It was a beginning. He understood her nature. She valued respect, dignity. His usual bombast would only push her away. He needed to show restraint. He considered his next move. Perhaps a gift, something of beauty. Something that spoke of his admiration, not his power. He sought to understand her. He remembered her love for the starry heavens. He recalled her fascination with constellations. He decided on a celestial offering. That night, the stars seemed to blaze brighter. A new nebula appeared, swirling with soft, luminous colors. It resembled a giant, ethereal flower. Hera stepped onto her balcony. She gazed skyward. The nebula pulsed gently, a silent, cosmic dance. It was breathtakingly beautiful. She felt a profound sense of awe. This was beyond mere coincidence. This was a direct communication, a powerful, silent message. She knew who sent these signs. Zeus, the king of Olympus, the one whose presence was usually heralded by thunder and lightning. This was a different Zeus, a quieter Zeus, a more thoughtful Zeus. His usual boisterous energy was absent. She felt a flicker of something new. Not fear, not annoyance. A nascent curiosity, a touch of intrigue. She remembered his past, his many conquests, his impulsive nature. She was wary, always cautious, but these gestures were different. They were respectful. They were gentle. They showed a side of him she had never truly seen. A subtle tenderness. She wondered what he wanted. His usual pursuit was bold, undeniable. This quiet courtship was perplexing. She walked through her moonlit gardens. The air still carried the scent of jasmine. The peacocks had settled, their vibrant feathers muted in the darkness. The gentle rain had nourished everything. Her world felt softer, more vibrant. She felt a subtle shift within her own heart. He was not demanding. He was not boastful. He was simply offering beauty, offering peace. He was seeking connection. She knew she could not ignore these signs. They were too potent, too meaningful. They spoke of a deeper intention. She decided to observe him further, to watch his next move, to understand this new, unexpected approach. The night deepened. Hera, still awake, looked toward Zeus's distant palace. A faint, golden light emanated from it. She felt a new awareness, a sense of anticipation. This quiet pursuit was intriguing. It was a challenge, a gentle invitation. She closed her eyes. The scent of jasmine lingered. The image of the luminous nebula danced behind her eyelids. Zeus, from his chamber, felt her presence. He sensed her quiet contemplation. He knew he had made a connection. He would continue his subtle overtures. He would show her his true nature, his unwavering respect, his quiet devotion. He knew it would take time. Hera was strong, independent, but he was patient. He would wait, he would persist. The stars continued to shine. Olympus slept, but a new story was quietly unfolding. A tale of subtle approaches, of gentle persuasion. Hera slowly considered Zeus's quiet suit. The air shimmered around Zeus. His frustration grew. It pulsed like a thunderclap. Hera remained distant, untouchable. His grand gestures, his fervent pleas, all had failed. He paced the celestial halls. Marble columns blurred past him. He needed a new approach, something subtle. His usual methods held no sway over her. A thought sparked, a brilliant, cunning idea. He would appeal to her compassion. He knew Hera possessed a deep, nurturing core. It was a part of her gentle essence. He would make himself vulnerable. He would become small, helpless. She would not resist a creature in need. He smiled. A flicker of triumph crossed his face. First, the setting. Hera's sacred grove. It was a place of peace. Lush, ancient trees stood tall there. Soft moss carpeted the ground. A sudden storm would be perfect. It would be brief, yet convincing. Rain would fall gently. The wind would whisper through the leaves. He focused his immense power. The sky above the grove darkened. Clouds gathered, heavy and gray. A distant rumble echoed. Then the transformation. He concentrated his divine energy. His towering form began to shrink. His mighty limbs receded. Feathers sprouted, soft and downy. His skin softened into plumage. His eyes, once fiery, became small, bead-like. A beak formed, delicate and curved. He was a cuckoo, small, brown, and unassuming. He felt a shiver, a genuine one. The vulnerability was surprisingly real. He was truly tiny now. He fluttered his new wings. They felt fragile, unaccustomed. He practiced a few short flights. He needed to appear natural. The storm intensified slightly. Rain began to patter softly. It dappled the broad leaves. A gentle wind stirred the branches. He flew towards Hera's grove. The air grew cooler. He felt the first drops of rain. They were surprisingly cold on his feathers. His small heart beat quickly. This was a gamble, a risky one, but he trusted Hera's nature. He banked on her inherent kindness. He saw her sanctuary below. It was serene, untouched. The storm clouds swirled above it. Rain began to fall more steadily. He descended carefully. He aimed for a low branch. The wind tugged at his small body. He steadied himself with effort. He shivered, truly shivered now. The cold was penetrating. He tucked his head into his feathers. He made himself appear forlorn. He hoped she would notice him. He hoped she would hear his tiny cries. He let out a soft, mournful chirp. It was a sound of distress. The rain fell more heavily. It ran in rivulets down the tree trunk. The grove seemed to weep with him. He felt utterly exposed. He chirped again, louder this time. He fluttered his wings weakly. He wanted to seem on the verge of collapse. He needed her pity. He closed his eyes briefly. He imagined her graceful form. He pictured her gentle hands. He longed for her comforting touch. He opened his eyes. He saw a flicker of movement. A figure emerged from the temple. It was Hera, he knew it was. She moved with quiet grace. Her white peplos billowed softly. She carried a basket, perhaps for offerings. Her eyes scanned the grove. He chirped again, a desperate sound. He ruffled his feathers. He tried to appear even smaller. He leaned against the wet branch. Hera paused, her gaze fixed on him. He held his breath, if a cuckoo could. Her expression was unreadable. She took a step closer, then another. He felt a surge of hope. His plan was working. She was approaching him. The rain eased slightly. The wind softened its whisper. The grove held its breath. All eyes seemed to be on him. Hera reached the tree. She looked up at him. Her eyes, usually stern, held a hint of concern. He chirped again. She extended a hand. Her palm was open, inviting. He hesitated for a moment. He needed to play his part perfectly. He fluttered weakly. His small body trembled. He made a soft, whimpering sound. He was the picture of vulnerability. Then, with a tiny leap, he landed. He settled gently on her palm. Her skin was warm, comforting. He felt a wave of relief. He nestled into her hand. He felt her fingers curl around him. They were so soft, so protective. He was safe for now. He felt her gentle breath. She looked at him closely. Her gaze was tender, compassionate. He had found his way in. Her touch was soothing. He could feel her warmth. The cold receded from his tiny body. He felt a sense of peace. He had gained entry. He was close to her now. The cuckoo disguise was a triumph. His heart fluttered with anticipation. He heard her soft murmur. It was a sound of pity. He knew he had succeeded. His new approach had worked. Now the true test would begin. He was in her sanctuary. He was in her care. The next steps would be crucial. He chirped contentedly. He burrowed deeper into her hand. He would wait. He would watch. The real game had just begun. The tiny cuckoo shivered. It huddled against the cold stone. Hera's heart went out to the small creature, so helpless, so alone. She knelt, her silken robes rustling softly. Gently, she reached a hand toward the bird. It did not flee. It seemed too weak to move. Hera's touch was tender. Her fingers brushed its ruffled feathers. The bird was so small, so fragile. She scooped it up, cradling it in her palms. Its little body felt cold. It trembled slightly. Hera held it close, murmuring soft words of comfort. "Poor little one," she whispered. "You must be so terribly cold." She rose, carrying the bird carefully. She walked back to her chambers. The palace halls were quiet. Her footsteps made no sound on the polished marble. Inside her private rooms, a fire glowed. Its warmth was inviting. Its light danced on the walls. Hera sat by the hearth. She drew a soft cloth near. She wrapped the cuckoo gently in the fabric. The warmth began to seep into its tiny form. Its shivering slowly subsided. It nestled deeper into the cloth. A soft sigh escaped her lips. Such a vulnerable creature. It needed her protection. She felt a deep sense of care. It was a precious life entrusted to her. She watched its small chest rise and fall. Then a faint shimmer began. It pulsed around the tiny bird. A soft light, like starlight, grew. It brightened, growing more intense. Hera gasped softly, her eyes widened. The cuckoo seemed to melt, its form began to shift. The light pulsed, then flared. It was blinding for a moment. Hera shielded her eyes instinctively. A low chuckle filled the air. "My apologies, dear Hera," a voice rumbled. It was deep, yet surprisingly gentle. The light faded, it receded quickly. Where the cuckoo had been, a figure stood. He was tall, powerfully built. His eyes sparkled with mischief. A crown of stars rested on his brow. It was Zeus, in his true, magnificent form. Hera stared, utterly astonished. He offered a slight bow. His smile was engaging. "I hope I did not startle you too much." His voice was rich, like distant thunder. Hera felt a flush rise to her cheeks. She was speechless for a moment. Her mind raced, processing the revelation. The cuckoo, the storm, his sudden appearance. It all clicked into place. A wry smile touched her lips. "Zeus," she finally said. Her voice was calm, though tinged with amusement. "You went to great lengths, it seems." She shook her head, a hint of laughter in her eyes. He chuckled again. It was a warm sound. "Indeed, Hera." He stepped closer, his gaze unwavering. "I wish to approach you differently." His eyes held a playful glint. Most gods would simply announce themselves. Hera raised an eyebrow, or descend in a fiery chariot. She folded her arms, a picture of elegant composure. But where is the charm in that? Zeus spread his hands. Where is the subtle wit? He gestured toward the empty cloth. A humble cuckoo seemed far more effective. Hera considered his words. His approach was certainly unconventional. It was bold, yet oddly endearing. It showed a cleverness she hadn't expected. A true king, but with a surprising touch of humility. It was certainly effective, she admitted. A small smile played on her lips. You managed to surprise me, Zeus. That was no small feat. Hera was rarely caught off guard. A pleasant surprise, I hope, he asked. His gaze was earnest now. The playful glint softened. He seemed genuinely curious. He awaited her answer with anticipation. Hera met his gaze. His power was undeniable. His presence filled the room. Yet, she saw something more there. A spark of intelligence, a surprising gentleness. It was intriguing. Perhaps, she mused, drawing out the word. It was certainly memorable. Her eyes twinkled with mirth, and it revealed a certain ingenuity. She nodded slowly. Zeus beamed. His smile was radiant. I am pleased to hear it. He took a step closer still. I wish to show you my true nature. He extended a hand towards her, not just the thunder and lightning. His voice was soft now, but the thoughtful heart. He looked at her intently, the one that seeks true connection. Hera looked at his outstretched hand. It was strong, yet seemed gentle. She considered his words, his unexpected confession. This was a side of Zeus she hadn't known. It was compelling. The fire crackled softly in the hearth. Its warmth embraced the room. Outside, the night was still. Inside, a new understanding was dawning. A quiet moment filled with possibility. The celestial light softened. It painted the sky in hues of rose and lavender. Hera and Zeus often found themselves beneath this twilight canopy. They sought out quiet groves. They favored ancient, gnarled trees. These trees had witnessed eons. Their voices, at first hesitant, soon flowed freely. They spoke of the world, vast and untamed. They discussed the mortals below. They pondered their fleeting lives. Zeus, usually so boisterous, listened intently. He absorbed Hera's thoughtful observations. He shared his grand visions. He spoke of a stable Olympian reign. He imagined a cosmos in perfect balance. Justice, he insisted, would be its cornerstone. Order, he believed, would be its guiding principle. Hera, in turn, offered her wisdom. She spoke of compassion. She championed understanding. True governance, she explained, required more than might. It demanded empathy. It needed foresight. It sought harmony above all else. The thunderbolt, Hera mused one evening, is a fearsome tool. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. But true strength, my lord, lies elsewhere. Zeus leaned closer. He hung on her every word. It resides she continued, in the heart's intention. Zeus nodded slowly. He considered her words deeply. He had always relied on his immense power. He had used it to command. He had used it to conquer. Hera showed him a different path. She illuminated a more profound kind of authority. They walked along shimmering rivers. They climbed gentle, rolling hills. The air was often fragrant. It carried the scent of night-blooming jasmine. Occasionally, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. It sounded like a whispered secret. Hera spoke of her childhood. She recalled the quiet moments with Rhea. She described the lessons learned. She spoke of patience. She valued perseverance. These qualities, she believed, built lasting foundations. Zeus, surprisingly, found himself sharing too. He spoke of his early days. He remembered the struggle against Kronos. He recounted the fear. He recalled the triumph. He revealed vulnerabilities he rarely showed. He confessed his anxieties. Could he truly lead? Could he unite the fractious gods? Hera listened without judgment. She offered encouragement. She provided reassurance. Her presence was a calming balm. Your spirit, Hera told him softly one starlit night, is vast and boundless. She looked up at the glittering expanse. Like these stars, it holds immense potential. Zeus felt a warmth spread through him. It was unlike any praise he had known. He saw her not just as a powerful goddess. He saw her as a kindred spirit. They shared a common goal. They both yearned for a better world. They envisioned a realm of peace and prosperity. Their conversations stretched for hours. They delved into philosophy. They debated the nature of fate. They explored the complexities of free will. Their minds danced together. They spiraled upwards. Hera challenged his assumptions. She questioned his quick judgments. She encouraged him to reflect. She urged him to consider all perspectives. Zeus found himself growing. He felt his understanding deepen. He learned to temper his impulsiveness. He learned to listen more carefully. He began to see the nuances. He discovered the subtle shades of truth. Hera was his gentle guide. They watched the sunrise together. They saw the golden light spill over Olympus. The world awoke around them. Birds sang their morning melodies. A new day dawned, full of promise. Their connection deepened with each shared moment. It was a bond woven from trust. It was forged in mutual respect. It transcended mere attraction. It became something profound. Zeus felt a peace he had never known. He found solace in Hera's presence. He discovered joy in their shared silences. He understood that she saw beyond his power. She saw asterisk him. Hera, too, felt a shift. She saw past his bluster. She recognized his genuine desire for order. She perceived his yearning for justice. She saw the true king within him. Their courtship was not a whirlwind. It was a slow, deliberate unfolding, like the blooming of a rare flower. Each petal revealed a new facet. Each moment brought them closer. The stars above seemed to wink approvingly. The The ancient trees rustled their leaves gently. The very air around them felt different. It hummed with a quiet, powerful energy. Love, in its purest form, was blossoming. It was a love built on shared dreams. It was founded on deep, intellectual connection. It was rooted in unwavering respect. The soft moonlight streamed through the temple's open arches. It painted silver stripes across the polished marble floor. A gentle breeze rustled the olive trees outside. Their leaves whispered secrets to the night sky. Hera sat on a cushioned bench. Her gaze was distant. Her fingers traced patterns on the rich fabric of her gown. She felt a familiar unease stir within her. It was a subtle tremor, like distant thunder. Zeus approached her quietly. His footsteps made no sound. He settled beside her, close, but not too close. He sensed her quiet contemplation. He waited patiently for her to speak. "You have been kind to me," Hera began, her voice soft. "Kinder than many. Kinder than I expected." She paused, gathering her thoughts. "You have shown me a different side." Zeus nodded slowly. His eyes held hers. "I try to be, I truly do." He reached out, almost touching her hand. He then withdrew, respecting her space. Yet Hera continued, her brow furrowed slightly. "Your reputation precedes you, Zeus. It is a formidable shadow." Her voice held a note of genuine concern. "Tales of your adventures are widespread." Zeus's shoulders slumped almost imperceptibly. He knew these stories well. They were often exaggerated, but not entirely untrue. He had been impulsive. He had been careless. "I do not deny my past," he admitted, his voice low. "I have made mistakes, many of them." He looked at her directly. "I have learned from them, Hera." Hera met his gaze. Her eyes, usually so calm, held a flicker of doubt. "Can one truly change so completely?" she wondered aloud. "Or do old habits simply lie dormant, waiting for an opportune moment?" A silence stretched between them. It was not an awkward silence, but a heavy one. It was filled with unspoken questions. It was filled with the weight of her skepticism. Zeus felt a pang of disappointment. He understood her caution. He respected her intelligence. Yet, it hurt to be judged by his former self. He wanted her to see the man he was becoming. "I understand your reservations," Zeus said gently. "I truly do. My past is not a secret. It is well documented." He offered a rueful smile, perhaps too well. Hera's lips curved slightly at his attempt at humor, but the doubt in her eyes remained. "And your impulsiveness," she pressed, "your quick temper, are those also gone?" Zeus sighed. "They are not gone entirely. They are part of me." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "But I have learned to control them, to channel that energy." He gestured vaguely, "For better purposes." "Like building temples?" Hera asked, a hint of irony in her tone. "Or charming goddesses?" Her gaze was steady, unwavering. She wanted honest answers. Zeus met her scrutiny head-on. "Like protecting the innocent," he countered. like bringing order to chaos. He leaned forward slightly, like proving my sincerity to you, Hera. His voice was earnest, devoid of any pretense. Hera studied him. She saw the genuine plea in his eyes. She saw a glimmer of vulnerability. It was a side of Zeus she rarely witnessed. "It is a large promise," Hera said, her voice softer now. "A very large promise indeed." She looked away towards the moonlit gardens. "To change one's very nature." "My nature is not evil," Zeus insisted. "It is powerful. It needs direction. It needs purpose." He reached out again, this time gently taking her hand. His touch was warm, reassuring. "And you believe I can provide that purpose?" Hera asked, her voice barely a whisper. Her fingers intertwined with his. She felt a strange pull towards him. "I believe you already do," Zeus murmured. His thumb stroked the back of her hand. "Your wisdom, your grace, your unwavering sense of justice." He looked into her eyes. "They inspire me, Hera." Hera felt a blush creep up her neck. His words were sincere. They were not empty flattery. They resonated deep within her. They quieted some of her fears. "I do not ask you to forget my past," Zeus continued, "only to allow me to build a different future. A future with you." His grip on her hand tightened gently. Hera looked at their clasped hands. The moonlight glinted off her rings. She considered his words. She considered the man beside her. He was flawed, yes, but he was also honest. "It will take time," Hera said, her voice still cautious. "And much proof." She looked up at him. "You are asking for a great deal of trust." "I know," Zeus replied, his gaze unwavering. "And I am prepared to earn it, every single day." He squeezed her hand again. "For as long as it takes." The tension in the air began to dissipate. It was replaced by a fragile understanding, a silent agreement, a promise given, and a cautious willingness to receive it. Hera felt a flicker of hope. It was a tiny spark, but it was there. Perhaps, just perhaps, this time would be different. Perhaps Zeus truly could change. Perhaps he truly meant his words. She turned her hand, her fingers closing around his. It was a small gesture, but it spoke volumes. It was a silent acknowledgement. It was a tentative step forward. Zeus smiled, a genuine, relieved smile. He understood the meaning of her gesture. He knew this was not a complete acceptance, but it was a beginning, a very important beginning. The moon continued its slow journey across the sky. The olive trees continued their hushed whispers, and in the quiet temple, a new chapter slowly began to unfold. A chapter of challenges, yes, but also of quiet understanding, and the promise of a different kind of love. Zeus's words hung in the air, a gentle echo. Hera gazed at him, her heart stirred. His sincerity shone brightly. No longer the playful suitor, this was a king, a god, truly devoted. A soft smile touched her lips. She reached out, her hand finding his. "Yes, my king," she whispered. "Yes, my love." Her voice was soft, barely a breath. A profound peace settled between them. The glade seemed to sigh with contentment. Sunlight dappled through the leaves. Birds chirped a quiet melody. Their union felt destined, a natural unfolding. Zeus's eyes crinkled at the corners. He lifted her hand to his lips. "Then let us make it so," he murmured. "Let our vows bind us, not just in spirit, but in sacred ritual." Hera nodded, her gaze unwavering. "Where shall we go?" she asked softly. "Where can such a promise be truly witnessed?" Her voice held a note of wonder. Zeus's eyes gleamed. "To Mount Cithaeron," he declared. "A place of ancient power, a place where the very air hums with divinity." His voice was low, reverent. He rose, offering her his hand. She took it, rising gracefully. Together, they walked from the sun-dappled glade. Their journey began, a quiet pilgrimage. The path beneath their feet was soft. Moss cushioned their steps. Thick ancient trees lined their way. A gentle mist began to gather. It swirled around their ankles. It softened the edges of the forest. The air grew cooler, crisper. A subtle scent of pine filled the breeze. Zeus walked beside her, his presence a comforting warmth. He pointed out ancient oaks. He spoke of the mountain's history. Each word was a tender caress. Hera listened, enraptured. She felt the mountain's ancient spirit. It embraced them, drawing them deeper. The mist grew thicker still. Soon the path was barely visible. The trees became shadowy giants. Sounds were muffled, distant. Only their footsteps broke the hush. A sense of awe settled over Hera. This was not merely a mountain. This was a living, breathing entity. It welcomed their sacred purpose. They ascended slowly, steadily. The air grew thinner, purer. The mist swirled like whispered secrets. It carried the scent of wet stone. Finally, they reached a clearing. A plateau, vast and flat. Ancient stones stood like silent sentinels. They were worn smooth by ages. The mist here was ethereal. It swirled around the stones. It clung to the ground like a veil. The world felt hushed, expectant. Zeus turned to Hera, his eyes shining. "Here," he said, his voice soft. "Here we shall stand." He gestured to the largest stone. It was a natural altar. It bore the marks of time. Its surface was cold, smooth. A perfect place for their sacred union. Hera approached it reverently. She traced a finger along its surface. A faint hum vibrated beneath her touch. The mountain itself seemed to approve. Zeus stood opposite her. His gaze was steady, unwavering. The mist swirled around them. It formed a soft, private chamber. He reached for her hands. His touch was firm, reassuring. Her fingers intertwined with his. Their palms met, warm and true. "Hera," he began, his voice a low rumble. "Before the very essence of this mountain, before the silent witnesses of time," his voice was filled with deep emotion. "I pledge myself to you," he continued. "Not merely as king to queen, not merely as god to goddess." His grip tightened gently, but as partner, as confidant, as the one upon whom my heart truly rests. His words were a solemn promise. My love, my equal, my eternal companion. Hera's eyes glistened. Her breath caught softly. His devotion was boundless. It filled her with profound joy. She squeezed his hands. Zeus, she replied, her voice a whisper. Before the ancient spirits of Cytherin, before the wisdom of the ages, her voice was filled with tenderness. I pledge my heart to you, she vowed. Not just in strength and power, not just in glory and might. Her voice resonated with conviction, but in understanding, in unwavering support, in the quiet solace of shared dreams. Her gaze met his, deep and true. My king, my beloved, my eternal home. A soft gust of wind swirled around them. It seemed to carry their vows. It ascended into the mist. The very air vibrated. The ancient stones seemed to hum faintly. The mist swirled faster. It danced around their joined hands. A sense of completion settled. Zeus leaned in, his forehead touching hers. Forever, my Hera, he murmured. His voice was husky with emotion. Forever and always. Hera closed her eyes briefly. Forever, my Zeus, she whispered back. Beyond time, beyond measure. A deep peace enveloped them. They stood there for a long moment, united in spirit, bound by sacred vows. The mountain held them in its embrace. The mist swirled gently around them. The coolness of the air was refreshing. The silence was profound. Only the soft sigh of the wind. It carried their sacred promises. They had found their true beginning. On Mount Cytherin, under the watchful eyes of ancient power, their bond forged, unbreakable. Their love, eternal. The air hummed with joy, a vibrant, unseen song. Olympus shone, bathed in the softest golden light. Every cloud, every peak, seemed to shimmer with happiness. This was a day of true celebration. Gods and goddesses gathered, their forms radiant. They moved with grace, their laughter like chiming bells. Each face held a gentle smile. Anticipation filled the vast halls. Zeus and Hera stood together. Their presence was magnificent. Their eyes met, full of quiet understanding. A new era had begun. Hephaestus arrived, his hands smudged, but his eyes bright. He carried gifts, carefully crafted with divine fire. For Hera, a diadem of woven starlight. For Zeus, a scepter of polished thunder. Each piece pulsed with quiet magic. Hera placed the diadem upon her brow. It glimmered, catching the light. Zeus gripped his new scepter. Power flowed through him, yet it felt different, softer, more grounded. The muses then stepped forward. Their voices rose, pure and clear. They sang of love, of destiny, of the cosmos. Their melodies wove through the air. They wrapped around every heart. The song was enchanting, a lullaby of creation. It spoke of mountains forming. It spoke of rivers flowing. It spoke of the quiet strength of two souls uniting. Minor gods and goddesses also came. They brought their own unique offerings. Dryads offered garlands of dew-kissed leaves. Nymphs presented baskets of sun-ripened fruit. Each gift was given with reverence. The Houri, goddesses of the seasons, brought forth blooms. Spring offered tender blossoms. Summer gave vibrant, full flowers. Autumn provided rich, earthy tones. Winter added crystalline beauty. These flowers adorned the altars. They decorated the grand feasting tables. Their fragrance filled every corner. It was a symphony of scents. A grand feast was then prepared. Nectar flowed freely, like liquid gold. Ambrosia, the food of the gods, was served. Its taste was like pure happiness. Satyrs played their pipes. Their music was lively. It encouraged light-hearted dancing. Laughter echoed through the hall. Gods and goddesses twirled and swayed. Their movements were effortless. Even the most stoic deities smiled. The energy was infectious. Dionysus, god of wine, beamed. His presence added to the revelry. He shared stories, his voice booming. His joy was uncontained. Aphrodite, radiant and lovely, floated among them. She blessed the union with her grace. Eros, her son, shot playful arrows. They struck only hearts already open to joy. Even Hades, from his dark realm, sent a quiet blessing. Persephone, his queen, sent a bouquet. It was made of deep, velvety flowers. They spoke of enduring love. Poseidon, with his trident, offered a toast. His voice, usually roaring, was gentle. He spoke of deep waters. He spoke of unwavering commitment. Demeter, goddess of the harvest, smiled warmly. She blessed the couple with fertility. She wished them bountiful happiness. Her wisdom was profound. Apollo, with his lyre, played soft tunes. His music was soothing. It added to the peaceful atmosphere. Artemis, his twin, watched with quiet approval. Heracles, the mighty hero, laughed heartily. He shared tales of his labors. His presence brought strength. It brought a sense of protection. Hebe, goddess of youth, poured the nectar. Her movements were graceful. Her smile was innocent. She embodied fresh beginnings. The new divine union was celebrated. It was a day of profound unity. It was a day of true happiness. Olympus buzzed with goodwill. The stars began to appear. They twinkled like scattered diamonds. The moon cast a soft glow. The celebration continued into the night. Stories were shared, old and new. Memories were made, sweet and lasting. Bonds were strengthened, silently, deeply. The air was thick with contentment. This wedding was more than a ceremony. It was a promise. It was a new chapter. It was a testament to love's enduring power. Zeus and Hera, united, stood strong. Their reign would be just. Their rule would be wise. Their love would inspire. The celebration slowly wound down. Laughter softened to murmurs. Music faded to gentle whispers. A quiet peace settled over Olympus. the gods and goddesses departed, they carried the joy in their hearts. They carried the memory of this day. It was a day for the ages. Zeus and Hera remained. They looked out over their realm. A sense of calm filled them. Their journey had brought them here. They stood together, side by side. The future stretched before them. It was bright with possibility. It was filled with shared purpose. The world outside slept peacefully. Dreams began to unfold. Olympus, too, rested. Its halls held the echo of joy. A soft, golden light now bathed Olympus. It seemed to shimmer with a new, gentle energy. The very air felt lighter, clearer, as if a long-held breath had finally been released. Zeus and Hera, hand in hand, stood at the zenith of Mount Olympus. Their presence radiated a profound, quiet power. Hera's crown, adorned with celestial pearls, glowed with a steady, nurturing light. Her gaze, once filled with a guarded reserve, now held a deep, serene wisdom. Beside her, Zeus's mighty form seemed less imposing, more grounded. His thunderbolts, once symbols of raw power, now pulsed with a controlled, benevolent hum. Their union had not merely joined two deities. It had interwoven the very fabric of the cosmos. A new tapestry began to unfurl, woven with threads of order and harmony. The whispers of discord that had once echoed across the heavens began to fade, replaced by a soft, murmuring peace. Beneath them, the world stirred. Rivers, long restless, now flowed with a calmer, more purposeful current. Forests, once dense and shadowed, seemed to breathe. Sunlight filtered through their leaves in dappled patterns. Creatures of the earth, from the smallest beetle to the largest lion, felt a subtle shift, a sense of balance returning. Hera, with her innate understanding of structure and sanctity, began to weave a new order into the divine realm. She brought dignity to the Olympian court, ensuring that each deity understood their place and purpose. Her presence was a grounding force, a steady anchor in the often turbulent seas of godly ambition. Zeus, watching her, found his own power tempered. His impulses, once quick and sometimes unrestrained, now paused. He considered Hera's calm counsel. Her wisdom was a mirror, reflecting not only the consequences of his actions, but also the potential for true, lasting prosperity. Olympus itself underwent a gentle transformation. The grand halls, once echoing with boisterous laughter and sudden arguments, now resonated with a more measured cadence. Conversations flowed more easily. Decisions were made with greater foresight. The gods and goddesses, observing their rulers, found themselves inspired by this newfound unity. Apollo, the radiant god of music and light, found his melodies imbued with a deeper resonance. His lyre, once vibrant, now sang with an almost sacred purity. Artemis, the swift huntress, noticed the wild places she roamed felt more untamed, yet more secure, a paradox held in perfect balance. Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, felt the earth quicken beneath her touch. Fields yielded richer bounties, grains swelled with an unprecedented fullness. The cycle of growth and decay, once a stark necessity, now felt like a gentle, rhythmic dance, a celebration of life's enduring generosity. Even Hades, in his shadowy realm below, felt a subtle change. The souls of the departed seemed to find their rest with a greater ease. The boundaries between realms, though still distinct, felt less rigid, more permeable to the gentle flow of cosmic energy. The Muses, daughters of Zeus, sang songs of this new era, songs of peace, of prosperity, of the sacred bond between king and queen. Their voices, once sweet, now carried an ethereal quality, weaving tales of a world reborn. Mortals, too, felt the change, though they understood it not in terms of divine unions, but in the simple blossoming of their lives. Crops flourished with less struggle, droughts were fewer, and floods less devastating. The seasons, though still distinct, seemed to flow into one another with a smoother transition. Children born in this time seemed to possess a brighter spirit, their laughter ringing with an unburdened joy. The golden age had begun. It was not a time without challenges, for life, even divine life, always held its complexities. But it was a time marked by an overarching sense of harmony, a profound interconnectedness that permeated every corner of existence. The cosmos breathed in unison, guided by the steady, loving hands of Zeus and Hera. Their combined strength was not just in power, but in balance, not just in rule, but in wisdom. Hera's dignity brought an enduring grace to Olympus, anchoring its divine residence. Zeus's might, tempered by her counsel, became a force for creation, rather than just raw assertion. This was the promise of their union, a world where the earth flourished, where the heavens sang, and where the echoes of ancient struggles began to fade into a gentle, golden hush. The stars above seemed to twinkle with a renewed brilliance, each tiny light a silent testament to the dawning of a new, radiant era. And so, the world found its rhythm, cradled in the quiet majesty of their shared reign. The golden light of Olympus softened. Zeus smiled. Hera leaned into his embrace. Their hearts beat in quiet rhythm. A profound peace settled over them. This was their sanctuary. Their journey had been long. It was filled with trials, yet their love had deepened. It had grown stronger with each passing age. This was a love forged in fire. It was tempered by trust. Hera, his queen, stood beside him. Her presence was a comfort. It was a strength. She was the bedrock of his reign. She was the anchor of his soul. Her wisdom guided him. Her grace inspired him. He remembered first seeing her. Her beauty had captivated him. Her spirit had drawn him in. He had known then. She was his destiny. She was his other half. Their laughter echoed through the halls. Their whispers filled the quiet moments. They shared every joy. They bore every burden. This was true partnership. It was mutual respect. Even gods faced challenges. Their path would not always be smooth. Storms would gather on the horizon. Discord might test their resolve, but their bond would endure. Their love would prevail. Hera's hand rested in his. He felt the warmth of her touch. It was a promise. It was a commitment. Their connection was unbreakable. It was eternal. She looked at him, her eyes shining. They held a deep understanding. They held an unwavering devotion. This was the gaze of a soulmate. It was the look of true love. The stars began to appear. They twinkled in the darkening sky. Each one a testament. Each one a silent witness. Their love illuminated Olympus. It shone for all eternity. Hera, the powerful queen, found solace. She found strength in his arms. Even the mightiest hearts needed companionship. They yearned for understanding. She found both in Zeus. Their union was a symbol. It was a beacon of hope. It showed the gods. It showed mortals. Love could conquer all. It could transcend time. Zeus felt a quiet contentment. It settled deep within him. His heart was full. His spirit was at peace. With Hera by his side, anything was possible. She was his confidant. She was his equal. She was his beloved wife. Their story was woven into the fabric of creation. It was a timeless tale. He gently kissed her brow. The gesture was tender. It was filled with adoration. Their love was a living thing. It grew with each passing day. The winds carried their quiet sighs. They carried their unspoken promises. Olympus breathed around them. It was a testament to their reign. It was a monument to their love. Hera's presence calmed him. It grounded him. He was the mighty king. He was the thunder god. But with her, he was simply Zeus. He was her husband. Their shared history was vast. It spanned countless ages. Every triumph, every sorrow woven together. It created a tapestry of their lives. It was beautiful. They stood together, side by side. Their silhouettes were etched against the twilight. They were rulers. They were lovers. They were family. The foundational love remained. It was the bedrock of their relationship. It would guide them always. It would see them through. Their bond was truly everlasting. It was a testament to enduring love. It was a story for the ages. It was Zeus and Hera. Sleep now, little one. Dream of enduring love. Dream of powerful bonds. And know that even gods find comfort. They find peace in shared hearts. Good night. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe for more peaceful tales from mythology.